the Devils ended Nashville's 5-game winning streak and extended theirs to 2, and they've played good hockey lately. But, Chico, as you mentioned, it's so hard to overcome a deficit, particularly a double-digit deficit is what the Devils have been facing down the stretch. So despite the fact they've gone 9-3 in their last 12, they began play tonight 11 points out of a playoff spot, and they end the night 11 points out of a playoff spot. So teams ahead of you, they win, even though you pick up the W, some loser points added to some teams' totals. It's just nearly impossible. Devils haven't been eliminated, but it's just so difficult.
But you know what is fun, and you mentioned it, Matt, they're winning, and we're seeing some incredible plays. I obviously Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt, along with Luke making some nice plays too. But, those guys are so dynamic. Oh, my. They're just dazzling out there. And their hard work and their plays, if the goals aren't scored exactly the way we saw them, they're still involved in them. And so it's just fun for them to be winning. But like you said, the bottom line is trying to make some ground up, and they haven't been able to do that. Jesper
Bratt and Jack Hughes extend their point-scoring streaks to 7 games each, with big nights in the win against the Predators. While we await a Devils guest from outside the dressing room, let's rewind the clock and check out some highlights from tonight's game. And early on, teams with a little bit of a feeling out situation. The Devils wound up outshooting Nashville 9-6 in the first. But of those 6, these 2 don't get added to the total. Philip Forsberg fights off a check shot off the post, follow-up off the post. Oh, Forsberg and Jost with shots, bang, bang, off the far post. And you heard it. Yep. Jacob Markstrom heard it, and that kept the game scoreless. They don't count as shots on goal. There's no save made, but ding, ding sounds delightful.
Yeah. It always is very special for the goalie when the puck, he hears a ding, and then you wait, Matty, just a split second. Is there a roar? No roar? Oh, good, he missed. That's what it is.
Exactly, and that was a double miss on the part of the Nashville Predators. Later on in the period, Jack had a one-time try, just as Annunen made a terrific save, anticipating it on the pass to the far circle. Jack with the one-timer was turned back. But before the period was over, the Devils would get on the board. Bad pass rolled off the stick of Jesper Bratt, and then Nashville moved in, and now LaRue is knocked down by a combination of Dillon and Nemitz, and then Nemitz pushes LaRue into the back of the Devils' net the other way. Jack Hughes scores, fires one home, points to a bunch of Devils fans who are on their feet inside the Nashville zone, celebrating a goal. The Devils lead 1-0. The goal came at 18:02, and Jack did lead the fist bump parade. And that was a nice little gesture on his part, pumping up some of the fans who came out to cheer on the Devils here in Nashville.
Oh, there were a lot of fans here that we saw on the streets, both Maddie and I, that had come. Nashville's a destination now for a little getaway and, a little trip for vacation. And they were sitting over there, and Jack made a point of knowing they were there and then looking at them and waving. And I can't imagine how good that made him feel.
Jack, though, had that goal taken off his tally in the second period. They reviewed it, and he gave it to Jesper Bratt, who was setting a screen in front, must have gotten the piece. So no Jack Hughes goal, but peanut butter and jelly worked their magic. Bratt is 19th of the season. Jack with his 38th assist. Jonas Siegenthaler, the secondary assist, number 10 on the year. And the Devils took a 1-0 lead with them to the dressing room. In the second period, well, this one looked like a goal for the captain. Turned out it was taken away from him. And then in the end, it went back to him. Nico Hischier made it 2-0. Bratt with it as the Devils gain his own. Flip foot on that. They score. The puck deflects off of Nico Hischier. And the Devils have taken a 2-0 lead. And that's the way it looked to our eyes.
Well, yeah, and it's a bad angle, but I love that Jesper Bratt will shoot. If he sees a screen, he's going to shoot, and he did. And it was not only a screen, but a nice tip by, Nico Hischier.
And exactly. So it looked like Hischier's goal. Then they gave it to Brett. Then they took it away from Brett. And they said, no, it's Hischier's goal, his 25th of the season. Brett with his 40th assist. And Shimo Nemitz with the secondary helper. So it was 2-0. I wouldn't say the Devils were in control, but it certainly looked good. However, this game suddenly turned around. The Devils were beaten on breakaways a lot tonight. But for the most part, no damage was done by Nashville. They did score on a 2-on-1, though, as it was Reed Schaefer scoring at 11:09 to make this a 2-1 game, his 6th goal of the season. A minute 51 later, a guy who knows a thing or two about scoring goals tied it up. He knocked the stick out of the hands of Nemitz. No call. Here's Jack. He's upended, loose puck in front. They score! And Stamkos backhanding it home, and Markstrom goes right to the referee to complain. And it's 2-2. And he was complaining about one of two things. Either what he thought was a slashing penalty that could have been called with Nemitz, or he could have been complaining about the trip on Jack Hughes. We'll talk more about that in a moment as we go downstairs to Timo Meier. Timo, Matt and Chico, thanks very much for your patience. Appreciate it.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Are you there, my friend?
Yes, I am.
All right, beautiful. We appreciate it. Well, this was such an odd game. Odd man breakaways, post, craziness, but the Devils stayed with it. And that's something I think that we've seen more lately from New Jersey. Is that something that you agree with?
Yeah, definitely. I think the PK does a good job, and then the power play gets one, and like you said, we just stuck with it. And they pushed. We gave up, especially in the second period. We gave up too many odd-man rushes. They got a couple breakaways, but then Markey was there for us, so that was huge.
Well, isn't that it? Like, you guys don't make mistakes, they'll make mistakes, and finishing now. Just tell me your thought process on. You've seen so many goals, like. What's your thought process on finishing? I mean, times you want to shoot, times you want to pass, times you want to try to deke. Do you have a process, or is it the situation that dictates it?
I think, it starts with how you play away from the puck. You gotta, win your battles and, do a good job in the defensive zone. But once you get in the O zone, I think, the less thinking, the more instinct helps definitely. When you start overthinking, that's, I think, when we struggle. So just kind of play free in the head, shoot when you think you have a lane to shoot, and pass if you think there's a guy open. I mean, pretty simple.
Well, hockey is a simple game. Sometimes it gets complicated along the way, but it is a fairly simple game. You're a talented player on your own. There's no question. Tonight, your 21st goal of the season, but we have been in amazement watching Jack Hughes since the Olympic break. And I'm just wondering what you have seen as a player who knows a thing or two about playing this game on a high level, about what you've seen about his play and how he and Jesper Bratt seem to have gotten their thing together again.
Yeah, just with a lot of confidence. They trust their skill and their capabilities. So I think they play with a lot of fun in their game. I think you can tell that they're excited to be out there. They want to have the puck all the time. And they create a lot because, they have that skill that can, create room for themselves. And, it's fun to watch. So, we hope they keep going. Always see their confidence is high and, rubs off on our guys.
Well, Timo, the playoffs, who knows? Like, it's a long shot, but you guys are playing so hard. Let's just say in general, not just you, but what do the players want to do now and have been doing in the last few games that even if you don't make the playoffs, what message are you giving to the fans?
I think, just taking every game at a time and enjoying, we have this huge honor to play in the NHL and wear this jersey, so we want to go out there every night and win. I think that's our mindset, no matter what the circumstances are or where we are in the standings. We really want to make a push here, but also, who knows? We believe in each other, and we're going to go into every game with the mindset of winning, and we'll see at the end what happens, but that's all we can do.
And that's all we expect to happen. Are you left at all with some sense of what if? Like, what if there wasn't that dip, or what if some of the success that was at the beginning of the year now at the end of the year was also available and apparent in the middle of the year?
I mean, you can't change what's in the past. I think it's about showing character and do what we can do now moving forward. I think that's really the message that we have in the team, that we're in the now. What's in the past is in the past. We got to learn from that, but moving forward, like I said, we want to go out there for this season and give it our everything, and then we'll see where we're at the end.
Hey, one last thing, Timo. Everybody's so good with their sticks as well as you are blocking shots. If you're a shooter, is there any sure way that you can either toe drag it or do anything, because the defenders are so good with their sticks?
Yeah, I think, like you said, guys are really good with their sticks. But if you can have a little deception and make their feet move, as a goalie, it's tough when you have guys shooting through feet of the defenders, and you can kind of use that guy as a screen. So I think that's definitely, we can do an even better job of creating more shots through guys and have traffic in front.
Timo, we appreciate your time. We'll let you get back to the room and on to the bus and on to Carolina. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Timo.
Timo Meier with 21 goals now on the season. Devils win by a score of 4-2. Back to the highlights we go. Despite the complaints offered in a vociferous manner by Jacob Markstrom on what he felt was missing 2 calls on the part of the referees, Stamkos' 36th goal of the season made it 2-2. Truthfully, looking at the replay, the angles we saw, not really sure that either one should have been called a penalty. But at any rate, certainly Jacob Markstrom has his right to express his opinion, which he did. So into the third period we would go. And again, tight one, tied at 2. Nashville needs points, wants to extend that winning streak to 6 and maintain that grip hold on the second wild card position in the Western Conference. Well, we will call this the play of the game, brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner, as there was a great stop on a great player, but not by the goalie. Devils making a change. They've got Hamanaho out there, along with Cody Glass and Dadonov. There's a misplay behind the net. What a defensive play by Luke Hughes, who came out and played goalie in front. He blocked one, not just anyone.
Yeah, the goal scorer, Stevie Stamkos, is on his way to getting 40. And is that the turning point of the game? Or
that is the play of the game, brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner.
Well, I think you chose the right one, because it's 2-2. If Stamkos scores there and this crowd goes bananas, which they were waiting to do, and gave a lot of confidence to the Predators, it would have. I think the game would have turned out differently, but he didn't score, and the Predators didn't win.
And the Devils do pick up the 2 points. You heard Timo Meier reference the Devils' penalty kill. Jonas Siegenthaler was called for a trip early in the third. Devils killed that off, and Nashville's got a very powerful man advantage unit, but no score there. And then Luke Hughes comes up with the save, and the Devils and Predators are tied at 2. Well, as we move a little further along, there was a penalty called. It was a good call. It was questioned, debated, argued on the behalf of Nashville by their head coach, as Andrew Brunette couldn't believe that Fedor Svechkov went off for a trip, but that penalty turned out to be killed by the Devils, by Nashville, and kept things even. We're going to interrupt here in a second. We're going to go down to Sheldon Keefe.
Just the type of pressure that they provide, and of course we'll see that up a notch even tomorrow, but or in Carolina, I should say. But yeah, the guys had to find their way through that. The first couple power plays, didn't get a lot going. There's a lot of pressure, but we finally kind of broke through there and got a great chance. And it's just putting the puck to the net and Nico being there. So it's great execution all the way around.
How about Jonas Siegenthaler and his play over the last couple of games? He's not typically relied on for those points, but certainly he's
been playing great. Like his contributions offensively and joining the rush. Sometimes the puck lands on his stick and he makes a play. Sometimes he's driving through and creating space for others. I think he's done a really nice job of that. It's great to see him get rewarded. He does so many good things and hard things in the game that don't get a lot of attention. So it's good to see him getting some points and get rewarded. But we've really liked his game for quite a while here now.
Talk about getting rewarded. That 6-on-5 at the end there, just sort of the dig-in nature of that moment. What did you appreciate most about the handling of that?
Well, it's just gritty. It's structured. It's poised. Thought we got some pucks back in the defensive zone. Didn't panic with them. We just advanced the play. So that's really good. That's two games in a row here that on this trip that we've had to do that, and I've really liked how the guys have responded in that moment. Chassie's had them prepared, and they've gone out and done a good job.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Well, that's 4 games in the books now. One step to go on this
Sheldon
road
Keefe,
trip
the
at
Devils
back east.
head coach, with his post-game news conference as the Devils secure a 4-2 win tonight over the Nashville Predators. We'll wrap up with a couple of highlights coming up. At 13:56, Matthew Wood was called for a slash. That wasn't the greatest slash. You want to get your money's worth, but the Devils will take it. They go on the power play, and they take the lead. Power play for the Devils, once again trying to snap this tie. Jack slays one on net. It's cleared as it was blocked away, and then off the stick of Hamilton it goes. Here's Jack Hughes, cuts to his left with a shot. They score! There was a man cutting in front. I think it's Heischer's goal. If it is, it'll be his second of the night, and the Devils lead 3-2. It was his goal at 14:07. The power play goal makes it 3-2. Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt pick up the assists.
Is there anything better than a screen and a tip? No. And that's what Nico did on the occasion to score that goal.
So the Devils have the 1-goal lead. Annunen is pulled for an extra skater late in the third. And let's just say there was an opportunity for the Nashville Predators. It's one to the blue line, settled by Yossi. Gives it off to Stamkos. Now to Marchessault in front, and a rising shot off the glass. That was Ryan O'Reilly alone. You don't want to leave that guy alone too often, but
no, he didn't have much room though. And Markey really was positioned well the whole third period, and especially on that one.
And then finally, those posts that helped the Devils in the first helped them secure the win again. Tried to go short side and missed off the draw. Kept in the zone, but now as it comes loose, here's a chance. Off the post it goes. That was Matthew Wood, who missed his opportunity. 3 posts, 3 bells. The Devils then scored into an empty net. Timo Meier made it 4-2, and that was the final score. So now it's Carolina on Saturday. A fun way to wrap up this trip. Carolina hasn't played since Tuesday, so they'll be well rested, but it'll be nice. The juices will be flowing a little bit.
Oh, yeah, and, we love this trip so far, and it's been very impressive. But if this team beats Carolina, that's going to seal it. That's going to be one of the best trips of the year.
The Devils will look to wrap things up in a winning fashion on Saturday. It's a game that you'll hear here on the Devils Hockey Network.